it's Kathy from Maryland. How are you today? Who can guess what we're going to do today? We are going to make an Asian-inspired journal. I have wanted to make an Asian-inspired journal for a really long time, and I figured since the Lunar New Year just started on January 29th, it was a good time to do it. The Lunar New Year is also referred to as the Chinese New Year. However, a lot of East Asian countries celebrate it. It starts on the first lunar new moon of 2025, which was January 29th, and that cycle goes through to the lunar full moon, which is about a 15-day cycle, which ends on February 12th. They use a Chinese zodiac calendar, which is comprised of like 12 different animals, and every 12 years the same animal, that will be their year again. So 2024 was the year of the dragon, but 2025 is the year of the snake. And snakes in that culture don't have the negative connotation like they have in our culture. They symbolize like intelligence, love, and one other thing, I'm not sure what it is, resilience. But some of the traditions are really great. They serve all kinds of traditional food. For instance, they will serve a fish, but it's from a whole fish from head to tail, and it symbolizes a year of blessing and health for the whole year. And they also make these fun like rice cakes called tangguan, sweet rice cakes. And then at the end of the lunar celebration, the last day, it's called the Lantern Festival, and children will carry lanterns through the towns and all kinds of fun and dancing. And anyway, it's just a very interesting. I went onto the National Museum of Asian Art website, and there was all kinds of really great articles and pictures and everything about it. So if you want to learn more about it, you can read about that. But it's really great learning about different cultures. So today it's very exciting for me because not only have I wanted to do this for a long time, but I've also developed my first set of digital downloads. I'm so excited. So they're Asian inspired. I used some of my coffee stained paper and overlaid some vintage Asian images. I think that what I'll do at this point is point the camera down. My Etsy page is got a couple more things to validate it. So by the time you see this video, it may be up and running, but if not, it will be in the next 2 or 3 days. So I'm really excited about this. So let's go ahead and point the camera down. I want to show you the downloads, and then we'll get right into the journal. It's going to be a 2-part series. We're going to make the cover today, and we'll put together the signatures and get those sewn in the journal. And then part 2 will be special touches to journal pages. Okay? Okay, so let me show you. I have 10 8.5 by 11 digitals. I have one for a bonus. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But these are all high quality prints with a 300 DPI, and I think that you'll like these. I just really loved them. They're colorful. They're just really fun. There's journaling space on them. They're formatted so they can be folded in half to use as a journal. These were some of my own ephemera that I've collected. Just a lot of fun. So I've also developed a little foldable folio that I wanted to show you. This is fun for tags and things. So front and back and 4 pockets. So that's also part of the kit. I would have to suggest after making this, so I have the front and the back. I thought I would just talk about this now. And they're in, opposite directions, so you can do a front and back. However, what I might do to make it easier is just take this and then do a front and back on your copy machine with one of the full-size downloads as the back, which that is one of the downloads, because fussy cutting those and then lining them up and gluing them and everything, it would be much easier if you used maybe just a little heavier stock paper. Do this first and then put it in with the background, and then you're just cutting it out once. That's just a suggestion. If I had to do it over again, I would do it that way, but that was really Really a lot of fun. These are the pockets. And then I also have 6 tags. So there you go. So what I wanted to say was this is going to be a bonus 8.5 by 11. This is my own very, very old ephemera that I've collected, but it didn't come out in the 300 DPI. It just because it started out a lot smaller. So I'm including that as a bonus. So there's 10 journal background pages plus this, plus I'm going to add in this really adorable, I've kind of fixed her too. She had a couple pieces where some of the color had gone out, but I fixed that. Really cute little journal card that I picked up just in New Jersey a couple of weeks ago with some of the Asian ephemera I picked up there. So I'm excited about that. Again, my Etsy shop had been dormant for like 4 years. So when I went to update the bank information, actually my bank that I used to use closed. So in order to update that, it's quite the little process. So I've been waiting for that to come through, and that's why I've held off on this video. And I finally decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and launch the video and just let you guys know if you're interested in purchasing the set. It'll be up in just a couple of days. They told me today 24 to 48 hours I would be fine and validated. So just to let you know that. And there's not much in my shop, so I'm just getting started. But thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. And let's go ahead and get the video started. So I have been dragging around this beautiful linen fabric for a long time. I bought this probably 10 years ago, and I think I have 3 yards of it. And I wanted to cover a couple of decorative chairs with it and never did, but I just couldn't get rid of it. It's linen. It's just so pretty. And when I thought of doing this project, I knew exactly what I would use for the cover. There was no question. So I've torn it a little bit smaller. I've washed it and dried it. And then I have this very cool Asian dress that I bought at the secondhand store, thinking that I would use it someday for journaling. So this beautiful collar is going to get ripped off, and that's going to be part of the tie that goes around the journal. And then I would just want you to appreciate how beautiful this is, the way this was made, just that beautiful. We will be using some of that as well. So there's 2 different patterns here. That was the front of the dress, and then the back of the dress was this beautiful pattern. So I am going to use this for the inside of the journal, and then probably some of these pieces for some other little tags and things like that. So what I'd like to do now is, well, let me just talk a little bit about the size. I'm going to use this Amazon packaging here. And I like it because I was going to use a grocery bag, but I like this because it's crinkly, it's sturdy, and it's not super thick. It's just right. So I am going to make the journal cover. I'm going to use a regular 8.5 by 11 document page, fold it in half. So I am going to make the journal cover approximately, I'm going to cut a 9 by 12 piece, and we'll get going with that. So let's go ahead and do that. And then once we get that cut, then we can get going with our fabric. There we go. I don't think I need to do any type of flaps on the ends. I'm just going to get this glued down, and then this is going to get sewn around anyway. I'm just kind of doing this to stabilize it as a base, but I will sew around the fabric. I wanted to see what we had here. I hate to waste any of this gorgeousness. Oh boy, she's pretty, isn't she? Oh, these two ladies down here I think are really beautiful, doing their little work. Yes, yes, yes. That is really pretty. So I think I'd like to use this as a front. So I folded this in half, and we'll have to cut off right here by this basket. This. There we go. Okay. there we go. It's fine because this is a little big. The 12 inches is actually a little bit big, but let's do it this way. Now we're in business. This frays so nicely, as I found out in my washing machine. Now it's fine. Just that I had a lot of strings. It's just something from my sewing days. I always wash and dry fabric before I use it, and I know it's not like this is going to get washed and shrunk. It's just something I do. Just something I do. Okay, so this will be easy to do the back now. We've got our one piece, and I really went back and forth about which to use because they're both lovely. That red is really pretty too. I'm still kind of torn. I think I'm going to go with this. This also has some red in it, so. Do you guys do it like this? Write in the comments. Probably not. You're like, what in the world is she doing? This is just how I do it. I find it better than measuring, and it's just nice to. So I'm going to just run that over to the ironing board, and I'll be right back. Okay, we are looking good. Let's get our paper. Just want to make sure I don't need to trim this a tiny bit. I'm going to give that a little glue right there. I decided to try Fabric Fusion this time because last time I did a journal with this type of cover, I wasn't happy at how stiff the cover was. And I thought, well, let me try this. I'm going to just put a little bit of that Fabric Fusion because when it dries flexible. And I don't know if you're supposed to even do this, but I'm doing it. I'm going to thin it out with a little bit of water. It's just something I wanted to try today because I normally use Bookbinder's white glue. Because I'm sewing around the edges, it doesn't need to be crazy. Yeah, this will be very interesting to see how this comes out. And this is what I like to do. Let's put that back down so I can really see what I'm doing. That looks good. Okay. I probably could have taken a little bit more time, done some fraying on here, which I did not do. So yeah, I have a very good friend from Indonesia, and she's getting ready to go for a month, and she celebrates the Lunar New Year, and she's an incredible cook. And I just thought reading those traditions, it's just sounds wonderful. Do any of you listening to this celebrate the Lunar New Year? Write in the comments if you do. If you have any special traditions that you like. Ready to do this side. That might be a little bit long, but I think that's totally acceptable. Yeah, I'll have to cut that a little bit. Alright, so I see a little wrinkling, and I think it's because the Amazon packaging is a little thinner than a regular bag, but you know what, I think I'm okay with that, because when it dries sometimes, just like when you're using tissue paper, sometimes when it dries those things shrink up with paper when you're collaging with like tissue. I am going to have to let that dry before I sew it with my sewing machine. Okay, I am back, and I did something really goofy. Not unusual. So my first cover, I cut too small because I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't leave room for my signatures. So my signatures, I decided to do 3 signatures with this, 1.5 centimeters apart. So that I needed to add an additional 2.5 inches to the length. So this one just wasn't big enough. I'll use it for a smaller journal, but I really wanted to do 3 signatures. So I've gone ahead and done another one, and I ended up using the red this time for the inside, and I like it. So now I've got enough room for my 3 signatures. The height is better too. The other height was off. So this actual journal cover for a regular 8.5 by 11 with 3 signatures is 14 inches by 9. It's really like, yeah, it's 9 with the fringe. And that's going to fit my pages so much better than that other one, because you have to leave room. You have to leave room for that binding if you want to do that. So, well, I thought what I would do, oh, one other thing. This is really going to be nice. So I pulled the collar off of that dress and gave it a little press. And what I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm going to put a couple of strings or ribbon on the end here. And I didn't want to cut any more off it yet though, because I wanted to see how bulky that's going to get with the signatures sewn in there, and then I'll add ties on it, but I like that. I'm going to put this aside to dry, and then I'll sew it around it a couple times, and we'll come back to that. So that's okay. So the other thing I did was I printed my signature pages back to back. I'm just happy with these. I went ahead and cut all the white edges off. I was going to ink them, and I tried one, and I just didn't like the look of it. So I decided to print them back to back and then go ahead and cut off the white edges, and then I will ink around these, but I just wanted a little bit of brown ink, and I didn't want to have to cover that whole white edge, because when you print it 8.5 by 11, the printer always leaves that little, it's kind of like 2/8 white edge around. So there's that. So I thought what we could do is we could put their 3 signatures together. So I've got these. I found this book a while ago, and it's an Asian book, and it's about bugs. And isn't that great? So I just kind of marked a few pages with that beautiful text. And it came with a couple of these in here, so I'm going to use that. I don't know if these are like tags but they were like bookmarkers. Someone had stuck them in the book. I thought, oh, that's great. So I'll use these in a little pocket or something. So that was a real plus. So I've taken out a couple pages of this. And what I'd like to do with these is attach those. I was trying to figure out how I could do it. So I did it on another piece. I had some scrapbook paper that was Asian, and they were too small to just fold in half. So I found this printable. So what I did was just made like a hinge out of it and hinge the 2 halves together. So you will see some of that, but the back I didn't have to worry about because that's going to be sewn into the signature. So I'm going to do the same thing for these guys and just make them. I just thought it was kind of nice to use that decorative piece in the middle there. I think I will do the edges of this. I just couldn't believe that I made that journal cover. I don't know what I was thinking. As soon as I went to work on the signature template, I was like, oh no, I did not add in the extra I needed. So yeah, about a centimeter and a half between each signature is a good amount. Then I leave about a 1/4 inch to a centimeter on the outsides. So let's get those 2 on. So what I'm going to do is 5 journal pages and 2 small things per each signature. I think that works out good. I think that it would be easier for me to ink up my edges off camera. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Oh, I wanted to show you, I tried copying one of my digitals on coffee stained paper that it was already coffee stained, and I put it through, and I can actually show you the difference. I really like it, but I didn't want to do all of them like that. You can see the difference in the color. So that's plain white paper, and this is with coffee stain paper. So it's just cool. And the other side has the coffee stain, so I am going to use that in a different signature. And I did some coffee dyed with a stencil. I thought that was nice. Now I may end up turning these the other direction once I decide what's going where, but I thought, I'm just going to get these folded, and then when you start putting them together, they might be okay. All right, so let's go ahead and kind of get these together. Okay, so I am going to sew around my journal, and then we will come back and we will get these signatures sewn in, and that will be part 1 of this. Part 2, we'll come back and we'll work in the journal actually. All right, see you in a little bit. Okay, we have a cover, and it is nice. I really like the way that came out. I like my little band for it. But what I want to do first is I want to go ahead and do a template for the signatures and get them sewn in with you guys. So I had been using this, but then I remembered, why not download a piece of graph paper from the internet? So this is a centimeter graph paper. So it's 6 centimeters. And this is 6 boxes. You'll see this is a lot easier. So the first thing I'm going to do is just fold this in half to find the middle, and that will be where we'll start. So we'll just go on here, since that is close enough to the middle, and then here I'm going to just mark the 1.5 centimeter point, because this doesn't have half centimeters, just centimeters. So we'll go like that, and here. So what I would like to do is do 5. So I'll do 2 above and 2 below. This I think I'm going to bring up to here. Just a little white line. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 signatures, and we've got a little bit on each edge. So here we go. Let's go ahead and find the middle of this. This is 14, so 7 would be our middle. I don't have one of those fancy cradles, so I'm going to just go like this. And And just check one more time. It's worthwhile checking this. I know this seems tedious. 7 from center and 7 from center. Yeah, that looks good. So now I've got my little trusty awl. I'm going to go ahead and make my holes. And it gets thicker as the awl goes up. You only want to go to about there because the smaller the hole, the better. So you don't really need to go the whole way. Okay, the other thing that I didn't say, which is really important, is to write on here which side is the top. Because when you go to put this on your signatures, you want to know which side was the top, just in case that's off a little bit with your spacing. So I know that that's the top, so we can take this off now. And you can see those nice little holes. I'm going to go around to this side and just make sure I can see them over here and maybe just reinforce that a little bit. I think we are ready to go. I can see everything on both sides now. Let's get our signatures. Start with this. So we've adjusted our papers. Everything is where it's supposed to be. I'm just pushing that down to make sure that's where it's supposed to be. This is going on the top. Now, let's just make sure that stays in place too. So I've got everything down, everything's where it's supposed to be. And then we'll just do the same thing. We're going to go right through. And I think that I will just go ahead and sew them as I go. I decided I wanted this to be the first one. However, I think it's easier to start on this side. So I'm going to use this really pretty golden yellow embroidery floss. I thought that would go nice with that. And when you cut your embroidery floss or string or whatever you want to use, do 3 times the journal size, height. So you've got 1, 2, 3. And you usually have enough left over to tie yourself a little bow on the inside or just tie yourself a nice knot. But that's what we're going to do. So I can take this off now. We're done with that. We know where our top is. All our papers are being held together by that clip. We're going to start in the middle and we're going to start right at the last middle hole here. So we go through here, middle, and we will go right here, right through. We're going to leave ourselves a little bit of a tail like that. We're going to go through the back and up to the next hole, and then through this hole. And then we'll go back through. Okay, so make sure that's taut. Flip it over, and then we're going to come back up through here. See if we can get back up, back through without, hopefully, we do not want to split that if we don't have to, that thread. Then we're going to skip over the middle, and we're going to come down here, and then back up through the middle. You want to try to come out on the other side of there. You don't want to split the thread if possible. Okay, let's make sure everything is nice and tight. Get a little bit tighter here. I do 3 knots and cut it. 1 done. Okay, next. Okay, there's my hole. We start in the middle. We come up through the next one. Done. We did it. So that's what it looks like. Oh my gosh, this is exciting. Okay, so we have our signatures sewn in. Let's go through and give them a little memory of their new position and their new little book-like self. Very nice. Oh yeah, guys. I like this. So I had a thought about one more thing to do before we end this, and that was just kind of finish this. And what I was thinking is putting a rivet here and then putting a little tie on there. Just want to cut off a little bit of that curve. And then I'm going to just zigzag that back and forth and then put a rivet in here. I'll be right back. Okay. Let's put a couple rivets in here. Oh, nice. Yeah, I can just trim that off. And let's get a rivet in. I think I'd like to use black. Nice finishing circle on the other side. I'm on the right setting. For some reason, the large rivets work perfect. The smaller 2-3 millimeter rivets always, or eyelets, whatever you want to call them, they always have a hard time with the crocodile. Does anybody else have that experience? Like butter, right? It's like so easy. I had a couple different thoughts for a tie. I'm either going to just use some jute, or I have this multicolored stuff that I just want to take a look at. I'm not sure if it's too crazy. You know, it might be just the thing because we are celebrating the Lunar New Year after all, aren't we? And see if we like it. Because the good news is I can always just take that out and put something else in. Let's just give it a try. Just going to give that a little tie. Let's do one on this side. The same length. A little bit long because I tied it. Ooh, yeah. I think we have a winner. Let's take a look. Oh, isn't that colorful and nice? And then we would just tie it like this. And this will be much fatter. Very skinny now. Oh, yeah. What do you think, guys? We have our little Asian-inspired Lunar New Year celebrating journal. What do we think? Oh, I'm happy. I am happy. So next time we will come back. We're going to work in the journal pages, do some special touches to journal pages in the next video. I may add something up here, or I may not. This is just such a beautiful cover. I don't know if I even need to add anything else. Maybe a little plaque there with a little date or something. 2025, that might be cool. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. I hope you've enjoyed this. And once again, I am excited to announce that I have my first set of digital downloads with these beautiful Asian-inspired pages on Etsy. You can find my shop under Kathleen Berinsky, and if you have any issues, please reach out. See you in the next video. Bye. Love you guys.